the finish line. Day before the race. Hundreds of volunteers setting up. They got the medals out, the water bottles, setting up the finish line. In less than 24 hours, we'll be running through here. Let's recap the year. So, beginning of the year, I needed a long run tune-up race. So I picked the Gorge Falls 100K. It's always been on my bucket list. I always wanted to see the waterfalls. So I knocked that out. Then I filled in as a sub for pacing the Fargo Marathon. And then I went to Western States, and that was in June. And then, or 2 months later, I went to UTMB at the end of August, beginning of September. And then about a month later, I'm back out there pacing the Chicago Marathon. And a week later after that, I'm pacing Des Moines Marathon, my final race of the year, the California International Marathon, CIM.
We'll also have CIM pace team leader Stephanie Dunlap.
I had one goal only, and that was to qualify for the New York City Marathon. When I found out that I didn't get in New York City, I said I need a race in the fall because I won't be able to do one over the summer. I won't be able to do one in the spring. I was focused on Western States, UTMB, and then I needed time to recover from those races. So I used pacing Chicago and Des Moines as training days to ramp up my speed and endurance, get my legs back under me for marathon running. I would focused on distance, just pure distance the first half of the year, and then I had to switch to speed, which is quite hard to do. I looked at all the fall races, and there was either like sketchy weather, super hilly. Well, that just left CIM, so let's go do CIM. It's California weather. It's always 50s, you know, right in there. They have fall colors out there, plus Christmas trees, plus palm trees. It's a little trippy because it's fall, but it's Christmas, so it's winter. It's a pretty cool course. And we ran through fog twice. Last year, I ran a personal best, 250 and some change. And my qualifying time for my age group was about 3:05, I think. And they said I wasn't fast enough. First time ever that I haven't qualified for a race that I've tried for. I have no luck with lotteries. I've only gotten into 2 races through lottery, and that would be Western States and the Tahoe 200. Everything else, no go. And New York City's like, you're not fast enough. I'm like, what? Yeah, I am. No, I'm not. So I age up to age 50 next year. So I go into a new age group. So they give me an extra 10 minutes. I'm like, sure, you're going to give me free time. Let's go. From what I understand on message boards, about 254, 255 might get me in. But that's like a 19, 20 minute under qualifying time that you need. Boston's like 7 minutes, maybe 3-4 this year, but you know, last year was like 7. New York, 15 to 20 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Perfect.
Be sure to stop by their booth to get a sample. That's
cool, thank you.
Having checked out the one space in the northeast section of the CIM Expo, be sure to visit with some of Sacramento's local running clubs and visit the Inspiration Station.
Small expo, lots of vendors, stuff to get, a lot of freebie stuff, a lot of picture opportunities. It's Friday, it's 4 o'clock, no crowds, such a great time to come. Able to like walk around, get photos. A decent expo, easy to get in. Grab your shirt, grab your bib, takes 2 seconds. And all you get was a t-shirt, and then you can pick up some free stuff at the vendors. So not a bad expo. Nice, simple, small, not overwhelming. The expo, you get this shirt, and the only complaint, I'm gonna see if I can get, there it goes. The only complaint people have about the shirt is this buckling. Something about ASICS shirts. I think the Twin Cities Marathon shirts had the same problem. When you go to the expo, you get this shirt, which I can show you. There it is. So it's a nice shirt. It just buckles on the collar. And then you get your bib. That's it. I end up getting socks, some samples of some other stuff, just a little knick-knack stuff, you know, nothing crazy. But what I like is the expo is simple. It's not overwhelming. You're not going to spend hours and hours there wandering around wasting your legs. You just come in, grab your stuff, and it's super quick. You just walk in, show them your ID, give them like your QR code, they scan it, boom, bib. And they don't give bibs out ahead of time, at least they didn't this year. It's just, they just give them out sequentially as you get there. So the person in front of me was one number ahead of me, and the person behind me was one number behind me on the bib numbers. And then once they enter you, then your number shows up on the online tracking, which the online tracking, they use this new tracking system for timing. When you crossed a mat, is what I read, the app showed you crossing the mat within 20 seconds of when you actually crossed. So, a great app, great tracking system, so you know exactly when your runner is going to come through at a mile or when they're going to be coming through at the finish line.
But when you cross the finish line and you're feeling exhausted, they give you, instead of a foil blanket, they give you this little blanket thing that you can lay down in the grass, or you can put this little hoodie over your head to stay warm, or you can wrap it around your legs. It's a versatile blanket that they give you. It's really nice. After a trail run or something, throw it on the seat to keep the dirt off. I'm thinking of tons of uses for it. It's like a lot of times you throw the stuff away afterwards, you know, or take the foil blanket to the next race so you can stay warm. But I'm going to be keeping this and reusing it, taking it to other races to lay down in the grass to recover. It looks like kind of more water resistant. And then here is the medal. Nice little shot of the medal. When you cross the finish line, they give you a beanie, and it's A6 on one side, and it says CIM on the other side. I'm bald, so I love stocking caps. They fill these up with water after the race instead of giving you a bottle of water, thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, which is becoming very popular. And then you get a long sleeve shirt at the Expo, and nothing else at the Expo other than your bib.
Alright, there's gear check right by the bus. Hopping on the bus. Not checking any gear. I got here at like 4:20, 4:15. And it's 4:35 and I'm just getting on the bus. But everything's working out. And on the bus ride out to the start line, it was super foggy, and I think that's why the bus missed their turns, because they just couldn't see the signs because of the dense fog. Yeah, our bus was about 15-20 minutes later than it should have been because they missed the turn to go to drop off, but that's better than two other buses that were about 20 minutes late to the start or something like that. There were people running uphill to the start line after we had already started. We were like a half mile into the race, a quarter mile, and we see people running to the start line because their buses were super late. So it could have been worse. Our bus driver was using handwritten notes. All right, walking up to the bathroom. Start line's way down there. Buses are back there. Gonna see what the lines are like. And we got like an hour and a half until the start. Our bus was a little lost, so we got here about 10-20 minutes later. It took about an hour to get here. Yeah, there's a ton of porta potties. I'm just walking all the way to the end. They weren't kidding. There's like 3 people waiting here, 1 person here. Just go to the end. Plenty of room.
3 runners, so please use them and not our neighbor's yards.
Super old clothes on. I got a towel from the airplane.
You do not plan on running with will need to be discarded at the start line here.
Say goodbye to the Packers sweatshirt. Okay, start line. Right on the edge of the 250. Okay, CIM, here we go. Anything better than 254?
Start of the California International Marathon.
As they speed through the finish, the flags go down, the fans get up, and they get out of
Here we go.
The arena is empty.
It is the 41st running of the CIM here in the beautiful city of Tulsa. All right, make some noise, everybody. Gotta get fired up. On your hype man.
Damn, 6:32 right now. Like 10 seconds into the race, already on pace. Turn the head around. He's behind us. Hey, that's all this whole race. Here we go. Only go from CIM run 254. And then I got going and I took off. Like, I was like going way too fast. So I said, let's go for it. Let's go for the PR. Let's go for 249, 250. I've been training, my watch and my stats, everything's like, all my training says I could do it. All right, mile 1, 6:27. A little downhill. Mile 2 starting uphill. Feeling pretty good. Gonna go for it. Gonna make a run at 250. See how long we can hold on. No guarantees. There's Olivia. Let's see her back. Just past Olivia. Friend of a friend. Small world. 17,000 runs. I passed somebody I kind of know. All right, coming up on 2. Holy shit. Mile 3. I'm averaging 6:26 right now. We're like 6:18 right now. That's stupid fast. But it just feels like a stair stepping down. You go up a little, then big down. Up 1, down 2. So you just kind of, just free speed going down these hills. It's hard not to run fast.
And that's how you finish right there. Let's go. That was Jarrett Bowers. Good job, Jarrett.
As I said earlier in the video, I ran a lot of races this year, a lot of huge races, a lot of miles. I just think my legs are just worn out from the year. So I went for 250 and I finished with 252.23. So I got underneath my goal. So I kind of faded towards the end of the marathon. Last 3 or 4 miles, I just didn't have the legs left. I was a little worn out. There were some air quality issues. There's fires down in San Diego that might have contributed to it. I might have had tired legs. I might have overtrained. I might have, I don't know, I might have overestimated my ability that day. Or I just had a bad day, just had an off day. But a bad day at 252, I'll take that any day. So I didn't get a lot of video of the actual race itself. My Insta 360 hat camera, I only ran and recorded for like the first 3 miles and then it just wouldn't work. So I got the start and I got the finish, but there's thousands of videos out there of the course. There's lots of people going, but this is my experience, my race, so I thought I'd share it with you. You see me cross the finish line. I didn't have the greatest kick at the end. I tried to turn it on. I just couldn't get it going, just didn't have the legs. I couldn't get that speed going, the turnover. But when I made the last couple turns coming around to the finish line, I finally was able to get a little something, but I just didn't look good crossing the finish line. I was 718th overall, top 8%. So CIM, super fast course. It's rolling hills first 13, 15 miles. And when I say rolling hills, like a subtle uphill, you know, nothing super steep, but some of the downhills are a little steeper. I mean, you can get going. I was averaging basically 626, 630 for the first 20 miles or something like that, and then I kind of slowly faded down to like 635, 638 range. Some of the hills you're going up, like for me, to use numbers, I was going up the hills 640, maybe a 650, you know, 635. I was kind of all over the place. A short hill, I was able to keep some speed. Some of the longer hills, I was looking at my watch, I'm hitting like 645. But going downhill, I was hitting 615s. And there was one hill, I went 555 or something coming down the hill. And I had so much momentum coming down the hill, I drifted to this like fence barrier thing. It was a steep hill. But so you can get some speed coming down those hills, and then you kind of slow going back up. So like that hill that came down at 555, like you turn, you go flat for like just a split second, and then you're right back into a climb. So it's just constantly up and down. You're switching gears, you're switching speeds, you're just really having to work hard. You get going downhill, beating up the quads, and then you go uphill, and now you're pulling on the hamstrings and trying to fire it up. So that's what makes the course hard, is the constant ups and downs in the beginning, and you really have to manage your pace. You can't just fly out and just use the hills for pure speed. You got to pull back, and I didn't know the course, so I just hammered it. I was like, you know, I've been training hard. I run hills every day, you know, so like rolling hills. Plus, I mean, I've been running mountains all summer. I should have legs, right? No, I took off too fast, too early, and I should have pulled back. I should have stayed in that 6:30 range instead of 6:26. 4 seconds doesn't sound like much, but that's like 4 minutes on your race. So that's huge. But I thought if I start off early and fade, I'll still be underneath my number, which is what I ended up doing. So I kind of played it safe, and I also kind of gambled, and luckily it worked out for me. I mean, I could have easily blown up and totally blown my goal, but I was able to hold on and gave myself an extra 2-minute buffer, so it worked out. But yeah, this course is fast. It's awesome. The race is amazing, but you gotta know the course. You gotta, if with experience, you can fly, but you just can't go out too fast, and it's so easy because everybody's running fast. Like, I've never felt safer at a marathon. There's cops everywhere. The streets are totally blocked off. Plus, it's like 4-lane wide, plus like kind of a turning lane, median in the middle. So, I mean, you have tons of room to run. I mean, at the very least, you have 2 wide lanes to run. So you can pass people, people can pass you. You're not really fighting for position. I mean, as soon as I got going, I had plenty of room around me. I mean, I wasn't stepping on anybody. And the final total was like 8,900 people or something like finished. And it kind of felt like 15,000 at the start. I mean, it felt huge. But as soon as we said go, like, we had room to run instantly. So, I mean, you can get up to speed. I was at 6:30 pace, like 2 seconds after I crossed the start line. I mean, I was flying. Normally, you got to kind of shuffle and get going and kind of find your space. So CIM is awesome about having room to run. The cops are blocking the intersections. Volunteers are handing out water. Like, you have tons of water options. It was precision fuel instead of not Gatorade. And you never had to fight for water. I mean, you just felt like you had space out there, and you could just focus on the race. You didn't have to worry about anything else. It was awesome. Okay, post-race, kind of hard to find people. There's the Capitol with the Christmas tree. They got burritos over here. You can buy some shirts at the end. Your bag pickups all the way at the end. Then you have to go back out this way to Capitol Street. Get out. Holy cow, there's a lot of people here. And water. I need water. So many people here. There's like 50,000 people, and there would be. I took a video of the finish area, and once you cross, you kind of do this like little S-curve thing. So the first thing you're going to get is your medal, and then you're going to get a bottle with water in it, and then they have water fill-up stations around the area, the meet and greet area, the meet-up section for family. So you can top off your bottle with more water. So it's super cool because they're not wasting bottles of water and stuff. And then they're going to give you a stocking cap, and then you're going to grab some Cliff. They had Cliff Builder bars, which are the protein bars. They had just regular Cliff bars and bananas and I don't know, something else. And then you're going to loop around, and they're going to give you a towel. Oh, and then as you come looping around, that's when you start seeing your family. And you need to have a meetup point. So that's like probably one of the most important things after the race is scout it out before the race, go down to the finish line, walk around, and just kind of find like an icon. The huge Christmas tree right in front of the Capitol, great place. Just find some point, because it's a lot of people in like a 2-3 block area, and if you separate from your person, you might not see them for a while unless you have your phone with you. And as a runner, I don't carry my phone, so I needed to have a point to meet up. So I found my girlfriend, and I had all my stuff on me, and I'm freezing afterwards, so she brought my coat. I didn't do a drop bag, but highly recommend having a drop bag if you don't have somebody there to give you some warm clothes. You're going to get cold, especially if it's only 50 degrees, 45 degrees at the finish. And then they have burritos. You can go down and buy some swag or something at the thing. You can get some shirts, hats, stuff like that. And, your bag drop is actually way past the food. So you got to go down there, but then you can't exit that way. You have to come all the way back to the Christmas tree and kind of loop back around where you just came through and got your medal, your stocking cap. There's some other ways to get out, but then you're crossing the runners. So the best way is just to completely go backwards and loop all the way around where all the runners are finishing and try and get outside of the course. If you try and cut through the course, you're never going to get through that. They had people trying to let people through, but it looked like 200 people were trying to exit that same area, so we just said no. A lot of people don't mention in videos where they stay, how they get around. They always just talk about the race. They show race videos, so I'm trying to give you a different angle, just more about advice and what it's really like out at races. So if you watch some of my other videos, I always mention the hotel, and this one I stayed at the AC Hotel. It's down near the downtown Commons. I think that's what it's called, the Doco or something. That's where the Sacramento Kings play, and we were 3 blocks from the Kings Stadium, 3 blocks from the finish line. So as soon as I should say we were right next to the finish line, but once you finish, as you'll see in the video, you have to walk back around the whole race finish, and you end up actually walking another like 4 blocks to get around the finish, and then it was only 3 blocks to the hotel. So it should have been a super short walk, but because of how big the finish line area was and like 50,000 people hanging out at the finish line, it ended up being a longer walk than I planned on. But great location, super nice hotel. It's new, it's clean, it's quiet, the staff is amazing. They left out some bananas for the runners on race morning, and you can walk like half a mile, quarter mile to the bus, the shuttle pickup, straight shot. You just get out of the hotel, straight shot down, boom, you're right there at the convention center where you do packet pickup. The other great thing about the AC Hotel, our location, was there's tons of food options. 8th Street Pizza is it's actually on the other side of the block. Awesome pizza. You can get a slice of pizza there. It's totally New York style pizza, just great quality. There's a great taco shop at the Cesar Chavez Park. There's a French bakery just near the Kings Stadium. Yeah, you'll spend way too much money there. We went 4 times to get some snacks and some treats and stuff. It was really good. We love our French bakeries and stuff. There's some good burger joints just in that area. So everything's walkable. You don't need a car. And when we got off the airplane, we paid $250, but you have to pay cash. So bring like at least $5 for 2 people. So you have to pay cash to use the bus, but you get off the airplane. It's like 5-minute walk, and you're outside the airport. It's so quick. You get to see the cool Samsonite luggage sculpture that they have. That's like pretty cool. But if you don't have to wait for your bags and you just have carry-on, which you should for a marathon, we walked out. It was like 5-10 minute walk from the actual airplane, and we're outside at the bus stop. And then we waited 10 minutes for the bus to get there, and it was like 20-minute ride from the airport on the bus and it dropped us off a block or 2 from our hotel. Walked over to the hotel, checked in, dropped our stuff, went down the Expo, spent half hour there, went and got some food. I mean, it was so easy. You don't need a car. We flew in, and then we took the bus back to the airport. It was like seamless. I mean, it was so smooth, so easy. Awesome race to be able to fly in, race, fly right out. So super awesome. And then, like I said, the whole downtown is walkable. I mean, we walked all the way to the farmers market on Saturday. Highly recommend it. Great place to go to get some food, fresh vegetables. It was like $3 for a pound of whatever you wanted. I mean, fresh fruit right from the farm down the street. Yeah, you gotta go. And they got food trucks, and and then we went by the Fleet Feet store, which I think is the original one because it was founded in Sacramento. So lots to do, and you don't need a car. You just walk around. Oh, and then you can, like, coming back from the farmers market, loop over to the Capitol and check out like the redwoods and sequoias and all the cool trees they have. They have this awesome park that surrounds the Capitol, so you can just totally explore. And it was actually turned out to be a lot better downtown than most cities that we've been to. So the reason I want to go back to New York City is in 2021, during the COVID year, I was able to get in. It was easy back then, and they had the shortened field of 30,000. A lot of buildings, restaurants, attractions, they were all closed or limited availability during COVID, so it just wasn't the normal experience. And I also didn't know the course, and I had just come off Boston. That was also moved to the fall because of COVID, so I was a month removed from Boston Marathon, and I just didn't recover as well as I should have. Boston really messed me up, but at the time that was my personal best, was at Boston of 2:54, and I was expecting to do about 2:55 at New York, finished with about a 2:57. But I know the course now. I know what that Queensboro Bridge is like, and I'm ready to go back. I want to do over, so I want to tackle those bridges, and I want to have the full experience of the 50,000 people and the crowds and just the normal New York experience. So in January, February, they'll open up registration, and then they'll send out the emails maybe end of February, March. I am really glad I went to CIM. It's an amazing race. A guy on the plane back, Max, he ran like 2:22, super stud. He asked me like what I'd rate it, out of 10, and I was thinking like, in that 8-9 range. The bus getting lost at the beginning and the huge crowds afterwards, it makes it a little hard to find your person after the race. But otherwise, top-notch race, well run, highly recommend it. If you manage the course correctly, you can easily qualify for whatever race you need. A PR is possible, but yeah, put CIM on your bucket list. Come in with a game plan, stick to it, run your own race, and make sure you enjoy the run.